still want to disrespect, I disrespect around here.
That was Angel Reese, live, unfiltered, and completely fed up. After months of buildup, she finally confronted Caitlin Clark on IG Live, and the message couldn't have been clearer. She's done letting things slide. Here's what led to this long overdue reckoning, and how this moment is taking the feud to an unprecedented level. WNBA drama and social media warfare. Let's start with the moment that set the internet on fire, the pro-era drama that pushed everything over the edge. What went down between these two WNBA superstars was wild, heated, and impossible to ignore, and it all led to Angel Reese hitting social media to finally set the record straight, once and for all. These two have had a rivalry brewing since college. You'd think that once they graduated, they'd leave the drama behind and focus on building their careers, but nope, far from it. The move from college hoops to the pros didn't cool things down between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. It poured gasoline on the fire. The stakes got higher, the spotlight grew hotter, and the tension exploded in ways no one saw coming. Everything between them has led up to this explosive showdown.
Rebecca Allen, too strong on a three. And look out, Caitlin Clark pushes Angel Reese, and Angel Reese gets right up into Caitlin Clark. Afterwards has something to say as Clark walks away.
Now, let me paint you the full picture of what went down. With 4:38 left in the third quarter and the score at 56-42 in favor of the Fever, Clark, driving to the basket, shoved Reese, knocking her to the ground. The foul was initially called as Clark's third personal foul, but was upgraded to a flagrant one following a replay review. The referee crew chief, Roy Golbayan, explained that the foul met the criteria for a flagrant one due to wind-up, impact, follow-through, and extension of the left hand to Reese's back, deeming it unnecessary contact. Following the foul, Reese attempted to confront Clark, who walked away in the opposite direction. The tension in that arena was so thick you could cut it with a knife. The situation escalated briefly, but Aaliyah Boston, a forward for the Fever, intervened to defuse the tension. As a result, both Reese and Boston received technical fouls, Reese for verbal actions and Boston for a physical taunt.
The on-court ruling of a personal foul on Caitlin Clark has been upgraded to a flagrant foul penalty 1. In addition, there is a double technical on Boston and Reese, which offsets.
So there you go.
The aftermath of this incident reveals so much about how both players handle controversy. Caitlin Clark, in post-game comments, stated, "Let's not make it anything that it's not. It was just a good play on the basketball. I'm not sure what the ref saw to upgrade it. I wasn't trying to do anything malicious. That's not the type of player I am." Angel. Reese, during the post-match press conference, echoed a similar sentiment, saying, "Basketball play, refs got it right, move on. But let's be real here. While both players were trying to downplay it publicly, the basketball world was absolutely buzzing." The game ended with the Indiana Fever securing a decisive victory, 93-58, over the Chicago Sky. Clark delivered an exceptional performance, achieving her third career triple-double with 20 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, and a career-high 4 blocks. Angel Reese contributed significantly with 12 points and 17 rebounds, showcasing her presence on the court despite the incident. Now, here's where the story takes a darker turn that we absolutely cannot ignore. The rivalry between these two incredible athletes has unfortunately attracted some of the worst elements of sports fandom. Angel Reese has faced disproportionate criticism, often tinged with racial bias. Social media posts highlighted Reese discussing racist comments, death threats, and AI-generated naked pictures. The harassment got so bad that the WNBA launched an investigation into allegations of racist abuse. Despite the WNBA announcing they could not substantiate racist fan behavior at games, the online hate has persisted. But here's the thing that makes Angel Reese such an incredible person. She didn't let the hate silence her. Instead, she used her platform to speak truth to power. A March 2025 study by Rice University and the University of Illinois Chicago found evidence of racial bias in media and fan reactions, specifically referencing Reese's 2023 NCAA gesture. This academic research basically confirmed what many had been saying all along, that the criticism of these two players wasn't being applied equally. Now let's talk about the social media warfare that has absolutely dominated this rivalry. Fan bases have used social media to express strong opinions, often criticizing one player while defending the other, which has polarized discussions. Posts on X, such as those labeling Angel Reese as classless for her reactions to game incidents involving Caitlin Clark, have received millions of views, showing just how invested people are in this rivalry. The celebrity involvement has been absolutely insane. Robert Griffin III tweeted on May 18, 2025, suggesting Reese hates Clark after the flagrant foul, leading to a public feud with Ryan Clark, who slammed Griffin's comments on his podcast, questioning the racial dynamics. Similarly, Stephen A. Smith commented on X about Clark instantly instigating resentment, though a community note clarified misinformation. And this is where we get to the moment that everyone's been talking about, the confrontation that finally happened. On July 10th, 2025, Angel Reese had enough. Robert Griffin III had posted on X stating, "People in Angel's inner circle called me and told me I was right, and Angel Reese has grown to hate Caitlin Clark because of the media always asking her about Caitlin and being constantly compared to her." Angel Reese's response was swift and devastating. She responded on X with, "Lying on this app when everybody know the first and last name of everybody in my circle for clout is nasty yai work," clearly denying the narrative that she hates Clark and calling out Griffin for spreading what she considers false information for attention. This wasn't just a simple clapback. This was Angel Reese finally drawing a line in the sand and saying enough is enough. This statement was widely reported in articles, confirming Reese's intent to address the media-driven rivalry. For too long, other people have been telling Angel Reese's story. Media figures, social media personalities, and fans have been interpreting her actions, assigning motivations to her behavior, and creating narratives about her relationship with Caitlin Clark without her input. That confrontation was Angel Reese saying, "Enough, I'm going to tell my own story." Meanwhile, there is no evidence of recent statements from Caitlin Clark on social media about their rivalry as of July 18th, 2025. Clark's approach has been more reserved, focusing on gameplay and downplaying specific incidents, rather than engaging in social media confrontations. The impact of all this drama on women's basketball has been absolutely incredible. The Sky Fever season opener recorded the highest ratings ever for any WNBA game, with 3.1 million viewers. The rivalry has been credited with increasing visibility for both players and the WNBA, though it has also brought out toxic behavior, including misinformation and harassment. But here's what's really fascinating. Despite all the drama, despite all the media narratives, despite all the fan warfare, both players have consistently maintained that their relationship is professional and respectful. Both players have publicly emphasized mutual respect, despite media narratives. Yeah, the racial bias side of all this is frustrating, and it needs to be talked about. But let's be real, it's the rivalry that's making this game electric. Without it, none of this would hit the same. That's why we have to talk about how this whole thing actually started, because the roots of this drama were planted years ago in college basketball. And once you understand that backstory, you'll see everything that's happening in the WNBA now in a whole new light. How a college rivalry became a WNBA phenomenon. Let me take you back to where it all began. Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark first met on the court during the Amateur Athletic Union U16 circuit, with Clark playing for All Iowa Attack and Reese for Team Takeover. Even then, you could sense the competitive energy between these two future superstars. This was the first meeting between two players who would go on to redefine what women's basketball could be. The real foundation of their rivalry was laid during their college careers. And let me tell you, the early matchups told a story that nobody could have predicted. During Big Ten play, when Reese was at Maryland and Clark at Iowa, Maryland won all three matchups, including a dominant 104-84 victory in the 2021 Big Ten Tournament Championship, where Clark scored 21 points and 8 rebounds, while Reese contributed 6 points and 6 rebounds from the bench. Think about that for a second. In their early college meetings, Angel Reese's team completely dominated Caitlin Clark's team. This wasn't some back-and-forth competitive series. Maryland with Reese was winning decisively. That context makes everything that happened later so much more meaningful. But then came the moment that changed everything. Fast forward to April 2023, and we witness what many consider the moment that transformed women's basketball forever: the NCAA Women's Basketball National Championship game, LSU versus Iowa. The stage was set for something extraordinary, and these two delivered drama that nobody could have scripted. In that championship game, Reese led LSU with 15 points and 10 rebounds to defeat Clark's Iowa team, where Clark put up an incredible 30 points despite the loss. But it wasn't just the game itself that made headlines worldwide. It was what happened near the end that sparked a controversy that continues to this day.
I'm talking. Hey, she ain't do this tonight, did she? Respect that. Respect.
That Instagram Live moment from Angel Reese after the championship victory tells you everything you need to know about her mindset. But let's talk about the gesture that literally broke the internet. Near the end of the game, Reese approached Clark and made the "you can't see me" taunt, popularized by WWE star John Cena, by waving her hand in front of her face, and then pointed to her ring finger, interpreted as a reference to the championship ring she would soon receive. This gesture by Reese was not isolated, but appeared to be a response to Clark's earlier actions in the tournament. During Iowa's Elite 8 win over Louisville, Clark had made the same "you can't see me" gesture, while achieving a historic 40-point triple-double. Let me repeat that because this is crucial. Angel Reese wasn't the one who started the taunting. Caitlin Clark had done the exact same gesture earlier in the tournament, and it was celebrated. The evidence leans toward this being a tit-for-tat exchange, with Reese escalating it by adding the ring finger point, symbolizing her team's victory and impending championship ring. Think about that for a second. This wasn't Angel Reese being disrespectful out out of nowhere. This was Angel Reese giving Caitlin Clark a taste of her own medicine and doing it on the biggest stage possible. But somehow, the reaction to these identical gestures was completely different.
But a lot of people did have a problem, apparently not with Caitlin Clark when she waved her hand in front of her face, but with Angel Reese.
This clip perfectly captures the double standard that has plagued this entire rivalry from the very beginning. The same behavior that was celebrated when one player did it was criticized when the other player responded in kind. Caitlin Clark later stated in an ESPN interview that she didn't see the gesture at the time, but defended Reese, saying, "I don't think Angel should be criticized at all." She emphasized that trash talk is a part of basketball and expressed respect for Reese's game, calling her a tremendous, tremendous player.
That's all you can do is, hold your head high, be proud of what you did, and, all the credit in the world to LSU. They were tremendous. They deserve it.
The class that Caitlin Clark showed in that moment, defending Angel Reese and refusing to feed into the controversy, reveals so much about her character. But it also highlights how the media and fans were determined to create drama where the players themselves saw competitive basketball. The impact of this moment was absolutely astronomical. This championship game drew 9.9 million viewers, making it the most watched women's college basketball game at that time. And Reese was named the most outstanding player of the tournament. But more importantly, media outlets marked this moment as the beginning of their rivalry.
Y'all told me all season I was too hood, I was too ghetto. I ain't fit the narrative. Y'all wanted me to stay in this box. I'm not staying in no box. Nah, I'm gonna be me every single time. And that's what got this natty.
Angel Reese's words in that post-championship Instagram Live reveals so much about what was really going on beneath the surface. Reese herself addressed the criticism in a post-game interview, stating, "All year, I was critiqued for who I was. I don't fit the narrative. I don't fit the box that y'all want me to be in. I'm too hood. I'm too ghetto. Y'all told me that all year." The controversy surrounding this moment was intense and revealed some uncomfortable truths about how differently these two players were perceived. Some, including sports commentator Keith Olbermann, labeled Reese's actions as classless, especially given the timing and her following Clark around the court to ensure she saw the gesture. However, others defended Reese, arguing that her actions were no different from Clark's earlier taunt and highlighted a perceived double standard. But the story doesn't end there. Oh no, it gets so much more intense. The 2024 rematch between these two was even bigger, with Clark scoring 41 points and dishing out 12 assists to lead Iowa to victory over Reese's LSU team, where Reese contributed 17 points and 20 rebounds. This game drew an even more massive audience of 12.3 million viewers, making it the most watched women's college basketball game at that time. The fact that their rematch broke the viewership record they had just set shows you how much the public was invested in this rivalry. Women's basketball had never seen anything like this before, and I hope we continue to see this fire between them for a long time. The bigger picture. After walking you through all the wild WNBA drama and digging into how this rivalry started back in college, it's time to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Because love them or hate them, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark have done something huge, something that's shaking up the entire world of women's sports. Even with all the controversy, the trash talk, and the non-stop Twitter storms, their impact is undeniable. This isn't just about two players beefing, it's about a rivalry that's rewriting history. And the numbers? They don't lie. We're talking record-breaking viewership, sold-out arenas, and a level of attention women's basketball has never seen before. This isn't a little bump. This is a full-blown transformation. Think about this progression. Their 2023 NCAA championship game drew 9.9 million viewers, making it the most watched women's college basketball game at that time. The 2024 rematch topped that with 12.3 million viewers. Their WNBA season opener in 2025 recorded the highest ratings ever for any WNBA game, with 3.1 million viewers. These aren't just impressive numbers. These are historic, game-changing, industry-transforming numbers. Publications credit the rivalry for over 25% of WNBA revenue growth, though Reese has stated it's not just because of one person. Their games have been strategically scheduled for maximum exposure, such as the 2025 season opener on ABC, drawing 17,274 attendees. Angel Reese herself reflected on the cultural impact in a 2024 interview, stating, "Seeing 9.9 million people watch that game, from a hand gesture to everything that happened, changed women's basketball forever. My life literally completely just changed from that game." She understood, even in that moment, that what they were doing transcended basketball. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, the racial dynamics that have made this rivalry so much more complex and frankly uncomfortable than many people want to admit. A March 2025 study by Rice University and the University of Illinois Chicago found evidence of racial bias in media and fan reactions, specifically referencing Reese's 2023 NCAA gesture. This isn't opinion. This is academic research research confirming what many people of color in sports have been saying for years.
This for the little girl, not even the little girls, even my sisters. Like on other teams, they say we was too hood, we was too ghetto. Come on now.
You should be able to hear the show.
All right, y'all, I'm gone.
When Angel Reese spoke those words after her championship victory, she was addressing something much deeper than basketball rivalry. She was talking about representation, about the right to be herself, about refusing to fit into boxes that society tries to create for young Black women in sports. The harassment that Angel Reese has faced is absolutely unacceptable and highlights some of the darkest aspects of sports fandom. As we covered in Part 1, social media posts have highlighted Reese discussing racist comments, death threats, and AI-generated naked pictures. The WNBA launched an investigation into allegations of racist abuse, showing that this isn't just casual fan behavior. This is systematic harassment that required league intervention. Articles have noted anti-Black narratives and angry Black woman characterizations directed at Reese, revealing how deeply ingrained racial stereotypes continue to affect how Black female athletes are perceived and treated. But here's what makes Angel Reese's July 10th, 2025 social media confrontation so significant, and why it represents a turning point not just for her, but for how athletes can control their own narratives. When Robert Griffin III posted false claims about her inner circle, saying she hated Caitlin Clark, and Angel responded with, "Lying on this app when everybody know the first and last name of everybody in my circle for clout is nasty work," she wasn't just defending herself. She was taking control of her own narrative. For too long, other people have been telling Angel Reese's story. Media figures, social media personalities, and fans have been interpreting her actions, assigning motivations to her behavior, and creating narratives about her relationship with Caitlin Clark without her input. That confrontation was Angel Reese saying, "Enough, I'm going to tell my own story." And you know what? It worked. This statement was widely reported in articles, confirming Reese's intent to address the media-driven rivalry. She forced the conversation to be about facts rather than speculation, about her actual words rather than assumed feelings. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark has taken a more reserved approach, with no evidence of recent statements on social media about their rivalry as of July 18th, 2025. Clark's comments have been more about specific game incidents rather than the rivalry itself, focusing on maintaining professionalism during games. This difference in approach tells us something important about how these two athletes handle pressure and controversy. Neither approach is wrong. They're just different strategies for managing the intense scrutiny that comes with being at the center of the biggest story in women's basketball. The social media amplification of this rivalry has been unlike anything we've seen in women's sports before. Fan bases have leveraged social media not only to follow the rivalry, but also to actively shape its narrative, often intensifying tensions and sometimes crossing into harmful territory. High-profile figures in sports media have significantly contributed to the amplification, often taking sides and drawing more attention to the feud. But let's talk about the positive impact that often gets overshadowed by all the controversy. Both Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark have consistently shown remarkable maturity in how they've handled this rivalry. Both players have publicly emphasized mutual respect, despite media narratives. The rivalry is entering its third year of dismissals by the players, suggesting a professional approach despite media narratives. Think about that for a moment. These two young women who have been under incredible pressure since college, who have faced intense scrutiny, who have been the center of heated debates about race, representation, and sportsmanship, have consistently taken the high road. Clark called herself Reese's fan after the 2023 championship game, and Reese praised Clark, hoping for future teamwork. Before the 2024 tournament, Reese clarified it was not personal, and Clark said their interactions were very respectful. Reese has spoken about accepting the bad guy role to generate interest in women's basketball, showing incredible self-awareness about how their rivalry was helping elevate the entire sport. She understood that sometimes being controversial is necessary to get people talking, and she was willing to bear that burden for the greater good of women's basketball. The commercial impact of this rivalry has been absolutely staggering. Reese's popularity among Black women has grown significantly, with major endorsement deals like McDonald's and her successful podcast, Unapologetically Angel, showing how the rivalry has created opportunities for both athletes to build their personal brands beyond basketball. But here's what's really fascinating about the business side of this story. The feud has increased visibility for both players and the WNBA, but it has also revealed how much women's basketball was hungry for this kind of compelling narrative. For decades, people said women's sports lacked the drama and personality that made men's sports so engaging. Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark proved that theory completely wrong. The professional achievements of both players during this rivalry rivalry period have been absolutely incredible. Clark won the 2024 Rookie of the Year award, though one anonymous vote went to Reese, denying Clark a unanimous decision and causing significant controversy. In their rookie WNBA seasons, Clark and Reese faced off 4 times, with the Fever winning 3 of those games. The 2025 WNBA season saw the Indiana Fever make the playoffs, while the Chicago Sky missed out, with Reese facing additional challenges after missing the last 2 weeks of the season due to a wrist injury. But here's what makes this story so much bigger than wins and losses. Recent developments include the WNBA's investigation into racist comments, underscoring the need for addressing fan behavior. This rivalry has forced uncomfortable conversations about how we treat athletes, particularly Black female athletes, and that's a conversation that needed to happen. The future implications of this rivalry are massive. As of July 18th, 2025, their rivalry continues to captivate, with upcoming games likely to draw significant attention and potentially shape the WNBA's future. We're watching the emergence of 2 generational talents who have already changed women's basketball forever, and they're just getting started. What Angel Reese's social media confrontation really represents is a blueprint for how this generation of athletes can and should handle false narratives. For too long, other people have been telling these women's stories. Angel's direct response to false claims about her feelings toward Caitlin Clark shows that this generation of athletes isn't going to let others speak for them. They're going to speak for themselves. The lessons from this rivalry extend far beyond basketball. We've learned about the power of authentic competition, about how rivalry can elevate an entire sport, about the importance of representation, and about the ongoing challenges that Black female athletes face in America. We've also learned about the incredible resilience and maturity of 2 young women who have handled unprecedented pressure with remarkable grace. Looking forward, this rivalry represents the blueprint for how women's sports can capture mainstream attention. It's not about manufacturing drama. It's about celebrating authentic competition between elite athletes who happen to have compelling personalities and backgrounds. It's about embracing the full spectrum of what makes sports compelling: the competition, the personalities, the cultural significance, and yes, even the controversy when it's authentic. Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark have given women's basketball something it had been searching for: a rivalry that matters beyond the sport itself. They've created moments that will be remembered for decades, sparked conversations that needed to happen, and inspired a generation of young athletes who see themselves represented in new ways. The confrontation on social media was just one moment in what will likely be a career-long story, but it was an important moment. A moment when Angel Reese took control of her narrative and reminded everyone that she gets to tell her own story. And that story, along with Caitlin Clark's story, will continue to shape women's basketball for years to come. As we wrap up this deep dive into one of the most fascinating stories in modern sports, remember that this isn't just about 2 basketball players. This is about the evolution of women's sports, about the power of authentic competition, about representation and respect, and about 2 incredible young women who have changed the game forever. The impact numbers speak for themselves. These 2 athletes have taken women's basketball from being an afterthought to appointment television. They've created must-see moments that transcend sports. They've forced conversations about fairness, representation, and authenticity that needed to happen. Most importantly, Angel Reese's social media confrontation on July 10th, 2025, represents a new era where athletes control their own narratives. No longer will they allow others to speak for them, to assign motivations to their actions, or to create false drama for clicks and views. This generation of athletes is going to tell their own stories, in their own words, on their own terms. The future of this rivalry is bright, not because of manufactured drama, but because of authentic competition between 2 generational talents who respect each other, even as they compete fiercely against each other. Their rivalry continues to captivate and will likely shape the WNBA's future for years to come. Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark have given us something special, a rivalry that matters, that means something, that represents growth and change in how we view women's sports. And that confrontation on social media, that was just Angel Reese reminding everyone that she gets to be the author of her own story. Thanks for joining me on this incredible journey through one of the most compelling rivalries in sports history. Make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that are shaping the world of basketball, and let me know in the comments what you think about this rivalry and its impact on women's sports. Until next time, keep watching, keep supporting women's basketball, and remember, the best stories in sports are the real ones. And that's a wrap. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to check out more amazing content on our channel. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.